What's up, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Game, your one source for everything cool in video games. Now, you can always be a part of the show. All you have to do is go to insidethegame.ca or join us up on Discord, where there you can submit your clip and end off our show. And we've got an awesome episode this week. Everything from heading back to 1941 to a futuristic setting, forming agents in the world with DedSec. Yep, that's right. I'm talking about Watchdogs Legion. And we've got also an awesome interview. So you make sure you stick around. You know how we get things started. Here it is. It's the Inside Scoop. It looks like Assassin's Creed is on the rise. And they're busy not only producing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but Ubisoft is also bringing the series to Netflix via a live action, an animated series, as well as an anime series. For more than 10 years, millions of fans around the world have helped shape the Assassin's Creed brand into an iconic franchise, said Jason Altman, head of Ubisoft Film and Television over in Los Angeles. We're thrilled to create Assassin's Creed series with Netflix, and we look forward to developing the next saga in the Assassin's Creed universe. Since the first Assassin's Creed released back in 2007, the franchise has sold more than 155 million games worldwide. It's easy to say Assassin's Creed is a beloved franchise, but how well does that transfer over to live action, an animated series, and an anime series? Here's hoping we don't go back to how it was before with Assassin's Creed Overload.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a highly anticipated game, and we are just around the corner from its release. We're starting to get some smaller details about how the game is going to work, and that is that the story will be told in smaller saga chunks. Inspired by the actual Viking sagas themselves, you'll pick a mission, go and do it, maybe it's 2 to 4 hours long, and then you return back to your encampment, where you pick the next mission. And although by the end of the game, all these will relate to each other, they're not really tied together in one big congruent story. But any details are exciting right now as we get closer to the November 10th release, where this game will drop on all consoles plus Stadia.
Alright, so I'm taking the PlayStation news this time, and I got some juicy information for all of you guys. Starting things off, I'm going with the PlayStation Plus games for the month of November, and starting things off, we have Middle-earth: Shadow of War, the sequel to Shadow of Mordor, an Assassin's Creed style RPG open world Lord of the Rings game. Yep, if you haven't tried this game, you absolutely need to pick this one up with your subscription. Nextly, we have Hollow Knight Voidheart Edition. Now, the Hollow Knight series is a very famous series and is pretty fun. If you don't own this or have not tried it, you absolutely need to pick it up, because both of those will be available on November 3rd. But getting to more exciting news, as of November 12th, you will be getting your first PlayStation 5 game if you are an owner of a PlayStation 5 by that point, and you will be getting Bugsnax. So in Bugsnax, you get to play as an investigative journalist who has set out to explore Snacktooth Island, home to legendary half-bug, half-snack creatures, Bugsnax. Discover, hunt, and capture all 100 critters while also tracking down and reuniting the island's inhabitants. Now, Bugsnax, wow, what an interesting sounding game. It's pretty exciting that you're going to be able to get a free game on your PS5 first day as a PlayStation Plus owner. So that's really exciting. Now I'm going to give you one more kind of cool thing that Sony's doing with their trophy system. Now, their trophy system has been spot on, I think, for the most part, and they're actually kind of iterating something that I think needed some work. Now, whenever you get that any sort of trophy, you used to get a screenshot along with it to kind of bring back some memories. But now what they're implementing is they're gonna have sort of this auto lead up to clip of you getting that trophy and even have a little splash screen along with it. This is pretty cool. I'm all for the memories, so having something like this that PlayStation's doing is great.
So when the Xbox Series X first was kind of released, when we first got images of the console, it was kind of joked that it resembled a fridge. In its shape itself, it was, you know, kind of this rectangular prism, and it did definitely kind of look like the shape of a refrigerator. So Xbox has kind of leaned heavily into this, and the memes I think that are going to come from it are going to be pretty funny. But what they're actually doing right now is giving away an Xbox Series X fridge. Yeah, that's right. It's a fridge. It's massive. This thing is absolutely gigantic. They sent one to Snoop Dogg for his birthday, and when you get a look at this thing, you're gonna be in awe because it looks exactly like an Xbox Series X. The door handle is the disk drive. There's a light up Xbox symbol in the top left corner when you plug it in, and then you open this sucker up, and it's this beautiful fridge inside. Mind you, there's no freezer. It's just a fridge, but it's illuminated all green. Like, this thing looks awesome, and you know what? They're giving one away. So you gotta head over to Xbox's Twitter, and the details are all over there, how you can kind of get signed up and hopefully get in for the chance to win this thing. But let me tell you, if you do get it, you're gonna have a tough time getting into your house. You better have a big front door.
Cyberpunk 2077 may have gone gold, and with the release date of November 19th, we all had hopes and anticipations of getting our hands on the game. However, Cyberpunk 2077 and CD Projekt Red took to Twitter to inform us that the game is actually going to be delayed. The game may have gone gold, but it's still got a few things to polish and a couple things they need to tweak before they're ready for their new release date on December 10th. CD Projekt Red took to Twitter to let us all know that the biggest challenge for us right now is shipping the game on current gen, next gen, and PC at the same time, which requires us to prepare and test 9 versions of Cyberpunk 2077, Xbox One, Xbox One X, compatibility with the Xbox Series S and X, PlayStation 4, the PS4 Pro, compatibility with the PlayStation 5, PC, and Stadia, all while working from home. Since Cyberpunk 2077 evolved towards almost being a next-gen title somewhere along the way, we need to make sure everything works well and every version runs smoothly. We're aware it might seem unrealistic when someone says that 21 days can make any difference in such a massive and complex game, but they really do. We're all excited for Cyberpunk 2077, but CD Projekt Red just needs a little bit more time. Well, as far as I'm concerned, they can take all the time in the world. Anything like The Witcher 3? Well, man, I can wait. We just want a good game. And 21 more days isn't that far away. Lately, I found myself in a lot of ships, and this review is no different.
The Earth. That's what they called this planet once. It's hard to believe now. We did what humans always do. We lost everything.
While I found myself underwater in Aquanox Deep Descent, everybody's been forced underground, not usual style like a Fallout game, but actually in the ocean. The world above has been in disarray and it's forced everybody down below, and that's where the whole game takes place. It is very cool to see this world take shape and form when we're not really used to kind of exploring the underwater as we would normally when we're out in kind of a dystopian world out to explore, gather resources, and of course go along with the story. The story is basically our group of bandits has been woken up from a cryostasis and they're not really sure what's going on anymore. Hundreds of years have gone on since they were last frozen, and now they're back and they don't have a clue why.
Where are we?
Hull integrity at 25%. Breach imminent.
Station Medical should be here to check us over. There's a protocol for these things.
They've been told they were rescued, but of course, nothing ever goes according to plan or how the story is actually told when it first starts. And that's one of the best parts about the game, is the actual story. And as you start to explore and meet new characters, other factions, and it's really this battle between political factions that go back and forth, and it's kind of, who do you trust? And do you like that person? And can you trust them to keep moving forward? But it's honestly a little linear in the fact that you're not really picking factions. You're just there as the story unfolds, and then you find out what happens with each faction. And sometimes you're going against factions, and sometimes you're aligning yourself with others, but you don't really have the choice. It's just there to push the story forward.
What kind of people are you?
Excuse me?
I said, what kind of people are you?
I was pleasantly surprised to see that the cutscenes were actually voiceovered, and they were done really well. I enjoyed the story so much, as well as the voice acting itself, but when it came to the actual enemies out in the environments, they were kind of annoying to listen to. Just battering, and it didn't match the rest of the game. I understand that they're going against you and sometimes they appear as the bad guys, but their phrases were just lame.
There is only one.
Aquanox Deep Descent is a beautiful underwater vision. The scale and verticality of the game was rather surprising as well when you were able to pan around and explore the environments as you're gathering resources and unfolding the story to see how large the world appears to be when you're underwater. I didn't feel like I was just 4 feet deep. I felt like I was hundreds of feet deep, and that made a huge difference when exploring the world, going into caves in other locations and being transported into other parts of the ocean. I thought was really cool. A nice aspect of an old game that's been done years ago and brought back, but in a whole new light. My time with Aquanox Deep Descent was a great surprise. Wasn't too sure what I was getting into when I first started, but overall, it was nice to see where the story had twists and turns, and the characters were interesting to carry the story forward, and definitely one everybody should check out. This game is really cool, and as I said, a big surprise. All in all, Aquanox Deep Descent is getting a 7.5.
Initiating gate jump.
This is the world of Aqua.
Aquanox Deep Descent was a nice surprise that I wasn't expecting. A solid story with well voice acted cutscenes had a great twists and turns that kept the game moving forward. A few nice ship upgrades wasn't too bad either.
Scanner's clear. I think that was the last of them. Wait, no.
What's happening?
What are they doing to me?
We have to stop Manta. Aqua needs you.
All right, Drew, looks like we're entering the terrarium as gardeners in this one.
Sure.
All right, Drew, so we got our hands on this kind of puzzler gauntlet style game, I guess you could say, where you're set out as the gardener with your Mugus and you're traversing through these levels in all sorts of different patterns and ways. And man, I don't know, what did you think about traversing through the terrariums in this game, buddy?
Oh man, honestly, this one just doesn't work for me, Nate. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like it, straight up. It didn't click, it didn't at all. Like when it first started, I'm like, okay, I get this feeling of like the old school Lemmings, right? I'm like, dude, I'm a big Lemmings guy from back in the day. And I'm a big puzzle gamer as well. Like I love the puzzles, point and click adventures, or just even solving puzzles within games. That's my style, I love that, and stealth. So to have a puzzle game come at me, I'm like, perfect, right up my alley. And then I'm this gardener that I'm throwing these Mugus that don't work half the time, and then I'm traversing this world that you have to, just like Lemmings in a sense, maneuver your Mugus to safety and then to the finish zone. Your finish zone basically is a plant that you're looking to drop a piece of fruit from, and that became an issue as well. So as I'm making my way through the level itself, Nate, there are spikes there, all right? Dude, I'm nowhere near these spikes and I died. And it's not like just once. It is nearly every time. It's frustrating that you can't even play the game because their hit detection zone for the spikes is nailing me, not even close to the spikes. I can see when you're traversing, sometimes you gotta really kind of align yourself where you need to go, and you gotta guide these Mugus with you. But the Mugus are just dumb and don't have any sense of direction, so they come at you from everywhere. I'm up on one platform and I'm throwing my Mugu into this man-eating plant-like creature thing. It's supposed to drop a piece of fruit, right? Well, my Mugus just fall off the ledge, so I can't finish the level. And I'm just, dude, everything about this game just got me frustrated.
Yeah, and then at that point, once you lose any progress in the map, you actually have to restart the whole thing from the beginning. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Like you said, there's a lot of just kind of issues with the game fundamentally, you know, but when you're walking around, you know, you can't just get close to the wall. There's just these kind of random invisible barriers, or your Mugus, like you were saying, man, they got a mind of their own. There's a lot of times where you kind of got to get really close to a ledge or really close to spikes, and then, you know, you can't really control them. You can summon them towards you and then put them to sleep so that they stop. But I mean, they kind of just swarm around you, so they'll just go right in front of you and fall off the ledge, just like you said. So, I don't know, man. This game's just, to me, it just didn't strike home either.
No, not at all, Nate. It felt clunky at times. Didn't feel responsive. I felt like I was dying for no reason at all. It's just hard to progress through the game when you don't understand what's going on and why you're dying in the first place. And the story is just convoluted. Everything about this just didn't work, man. The story just can't do it. Couldn't do it at all.
Yeah, man. And so, kind of getting into the story, it came off really confusing. There's a video right off the beginning, and you, the gardener, are on the phone with your friend or some lady, and she's kind of bragging about how she always gets first and you always get second in these terrarium competitions. So I think that you're out there kind of trying to prove yourself, and then you complete these gauntlets. But on the other hand, I don't know, there was this little snippet where the Mugus have taken over the entire world and we're trying to stop them. So I don't know, man, this game didn't really make sense. It just it's just like I kind of caught the sense of humor that they were going for, where it's kind of ridiculous, but at the same time I just didn't get it.
No, it's supposed to be over the top, right? But at the same time, the Mugus infected the planets, and yet you're using the Mugus to your advantage. So you're violating the competition rules or something like that. Like it was all over the place, all over the place. Nate, a plus for the game actually is the maker mode, where you can go in and create your own level. And I dabbled in it a little bit to kind of get the feels for it and how you kind of would work around creating each level. And then you were talking about some competitions they were having for it as well?
Yeah, man. So within the maker mode, people create their maps and post them so you can play all sorts of different maps. And what I thought was pretty cool was, I guess there was this little competition recently, and they had a first and a second place winner. So I actually got to check out their maps, and man, these guys are pretty creative, because I didn't stand a chance in those games that they made. So I don't know. There is a big community within this game, so I can appreciate that. It definitely will jive with some people.
Yeah.
For me, man, I just didn't care for the puzzles. I found like the jankiness was kind of a part of the struggle in the game, and it was half intentional, but not really. So I don't know, man. All in all, I think we should wrap this one up. So what are you gonna score this one?
Yeah, nothing about this game struck home with me at all. I was kind of actually there with the strikeout with a 3.5.
Okay, man. Well, I kind of see where the community's coming from, but again, it just didn't jive with me. I think there's just a lot of things that they could maybe address. So I'm gonna have to give this one a 4.5. A game strongly driven by its community, but really lacking in just about everything else.
Not too long ago, there was a closed alpha for Kingshunt. After playing the alpha, I was also able to catch up with the CEO and founder of Vaki Games, Teemu, to talk about the upcoming title. And here's what he had to say. Hey everybody, I have a special guest today. I have Teemu from Vaki Games. We're talking about their upcoming title, Kingshunt. David, why don't you give us a rundown on what the game is and what players can expect when they're playing the game?
So Kingshunt is a team-based third-person combat game. You choose one of the unique characters from this medieval fantasy setting, and you fight against the opposing team, building towers, commanding minions. It's quite many stuff happening there, but there's much things to learn, so that's the main thing in the game.
No, absolutely. We jumped into a recent alpha that you guys have with the game, and I got a touch of a bit of a MOBA feel with some minions coming at us. We had the opposing team coming at us, as well as this tower defense element. Where did all this idea and concept come from? Were you pulling from other inspirational games and making your own and kind of meshing them all together?
That has been a really long journey. We started Kingshunt as a tower defense game, actually. Yeah, we started as there's only one team fighting against the minion waves, but we did some market study that was really not that exciting, so we decided to put the opposing team there. So we started to play that and experience different things, and Kingshunt has risen from there. It has been a long journey. We made mistakes. We came back to the drawing board, designed elements again. So it has been a long journey, but inspiration came from tower defense games. But we wanted to evolve that genre to different form because it's quite it's challenging in that sense, but it's quite boring also at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. Agent Howell hit us up over on our Discord, and he's curious of the roadmap of the game. What's your long-term goal for Kingshunt?
Long-term goal, at least for now, is we will focus on launching the game next year. And then we have a roadmap for 1 year currently in place. After that, it also depends on what happens next year. What are the things the players actually love in the game?
Yeah.
And we want to nurture that relationship with them and continue to develop those features. Not just focusing on building hats if no one wants to add those into the character example. So we want to be really honest about that. We want to be focusing on those things which are the most interesting part of the game. In the long term, we have big plans for doing even bigger matches. We were now focusing on the 5 versus 5.
Yep.
But early concepts we had up to 50 versus 50 games, so 100 players in one match, because the Battle Royale genre was booming when we started. Those ideas came from there, but that might be that in maybe after 5 years we can do that.
Right.
The tech is almost there. We have so many NPC units. Quite many things need computing power, so we can't actually do those things. So there are some really big visions for the game. So it's all about getting this feeling of medieval fantasy battle, that you can take part of this castle siege as a defender and attacker, maybe bringing that to another level, having those 100 players there fighting. That would be like my biggest vision for the game currently.
Oh, it sounds cool. We jumped into the alpha, and like you said, it's 5 versus 5, but there's only 4 characters for us to actually access at the moment. Moving forward, how many characters do you kind of think you're going to have in the long run? And when we go in and select a character, right now, because there's only 4, we're able to select the same character. Will that still be a feature, or will you, once one character is selected, no longer will be able to access that character with your team?
Yes, so currently this test was only for testing the infrastructure and the online code and everything around there.
Yeah.
We aim to have more characters and 1 character per player. That's the main goal. Now we had only four characters there, but we have 2 characters in pipeline currently. Okay. Those are exciting characters to players, and the main thing is that we want to have the 1 per team to make it as, because now we saw really different strategies that were really OP, and we don't want that. Yeah, we don't want that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Agent Howell also hit us up on Discord and wants to know, are we can have the option to pick a side when it comes to getting into the game? Do we want to play attacker versus defender? Because when we were playing, we were only stuck on defender. We never actually had the opportunity to play as the attacker. And like you said, little OP strategies, we kind of got crushed on the defending side. What feedback did you see coming through with the alpha?
It has to be about the matchmaking. We didn't have many rules for that, so basically that was random. So it's all about bad luck if you get the defender side all over again. So that was the main reason. Currently, we will get the matchmaker to decide what side you're gonna play. We have some custom games in place there, but we are not letting players currently make games, so that's one option. But currently the matchmaker didn't work properly, so that's the main reason.
Okay, because we saw the same, some of the same players in the same lobby constantly hitting this up again and again, and every time we saw them, we're like, oh no, we gotta have this deafening feeling where we're gonna get crushed again, right? So it was kind of one of those things. But overall, were you getting any other feedback within the alpha? What kind of information were you gathering from that? The servers were working well. What other bits of information did you gather?
The community is so great already. I have to say, we were surprised about the good feedback we received. The biggest one that was really fun to me is that players were expecting MOBA. They were expecting the similar rules, similar setting, but when they started playing, they played a couple of rounds. They said, "This is not MOBA. This is something different."
Yeah.
That was the main case for us. We never said that we're gonna build another MOBA in same rules. We never said that. We're bringing and building something which is unique and different. We're combining the genres to one game. And as for feedback, of course, the balance and all those things, we are working on that. And what else? Performance quite good for alpha, and it was quite reliable. In that sense, the servers were on, but we're inviting more players to next alpha because this was closed. So the matchmaking times were quite long. The peak hours were not that long, so we are also considering doing shorter periods, so players can take part of those. We wanted to go a bit slow with this test, but the next one will be bigger and open.
Is there a time frame we're looking at for this?
I don't want to be giving us dates yet, but we are aiming to do something in this year. and end of this year. So of course the big platforms are coming, Xbox and Sony. So there's so many things happening in the field. So it's always marketing wise. Wise to do.
Let's talk about next gen console, because you guys are coming to next gen console as well. What's the infrastructure like moving from PC over onto the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5? Is that a complicated process, or is that just kind of, it's not, I don't want to call it a copy and paste, because obviously that's not the case, right? But how complicated is that? And are you looking forward to getting on the console as well?
The timeline for console is not directly in the next steps, at least for now. We're focusing on the PC first. Game is playable with controller as now. We are focusing on building the game from both, and we're using Unreal Engine 4. So that's basically production ready for both consoles, so it makes it even easier. But we are in talks with them, so let's see how it goes. That's gonna be later next year. So we don't want to stretch ourselves. We are only 10 people in Vaki Games, and we want to put the PC game out first and then continue building there.
Right. What's your role at Vaki Games?
Yeah, I'm actually a CEO and co-founder of Vaki.
Cool. So what's your day-to-day look like then over there?
Lots of calls, organizing things inside, trying to keep the guys working on the game and also keep the scope down, because of course anyone has great ideas, and community has great ideas, but we can't take it all. So it's all about balancing those and making sure that Vaki is a great place to work, mainly.
That's perfect. That sounds great. Now, when it comes to Kingshunt and its actual final release, are we looking at a free-to-play structure or pay-to-entry?
It's going to be pay-to-entry currently. The price point is currently as cheap as that's 20 euros, $20, and but we will continue to develop it further, and let's see how it goes. But as of now, we are going to be a premium title. As for a small team, free-to-play is quite challenging, I have to say, for the content-wise. So that's why quite many indies are doing the premium, but we will continue to develop the Kingshunt with you, so that make it possible that we will continue developing game, and we have plans to future how we're gonna do it, and we will add new content, new heroes as we go further next year, and this is just the first steps.
This is great. Are we going to see other game modes, or is this just the main focus right now?
Currently, we're focusing on the Guardian Assault game mode, but we are talking about the game, another game modes. Make it maybe a casual game mode for the players to have fun and play quite quickly. That's the main plan for the next game mode, to have fast-paced action and ready to go as soon as possible. But now we're focusing on the Guardian Assault.
Nice. Are we going to get a backstory and any lore within the world itself and the characters?
Yes, you will have some lore behind the world of Kingshunt. The main setting was when we started that we're in the realm of Kingshunt, where humans all the good guys are pushed back quite a long time. There's an eternal war going on, and these dark forces are trying to destroy all the Guardian monsters and Titans, which are the humans' last defense also. So that's the main concept. And every character comes from that world, or different realms. That's something we are also... some of the characters are from different realms, but we haven't shared anything yet, so that's a surprise.
That's exciting to learn more, for sure. Tamu, before I let you go, is there anything else you want the team and everybody else out there for the community to know?
Sign up for the next alpha. That's gonna be bigger, more players in, and we will also fix all the small things that make it Kingshunt hard to play. So make it easier to get gamers in, because the first player experience is quite complicated now, so we want to make it simpler so you can just have fun there and fight a way up.
Excellent. Where do they go to sign up?
Kingshunt.com.
There, you hear it there. Everybody head over at kingshunt.com and let's head back to the show.
Alright, so I'm back with your Canada Division Rainbow Six Siege esports coverage. And I'm sorry I haven't been able to keep you guys all up to date. I've had some stuff going on, and unfortunately, I've just been really busy, but I'm back, and it's all actually come to a wrap. Canada, we did pretty good. All in all, I can speak for the teams that they have improved severely since the first stage, so I'm very proud of Canada as a whole. Now, as far as the North American qualifiers, we didn't do quite as well as we did last time, but that all being said, let's kind of focus on the actual Canada Division side of things. So like I said, all these teams, they have really improved. They had some roster changes, a lot of the teams did, and it's really kind of showing. Some of these guys have really stepped up for their team, and Livid, Nordic Esports, Altiora, all of them in particular have done very well. Mirage, of course, they did exceptionally well because they won yet again, pushing them to the North American qualifiers. But the other three teams, they've really just shown that they are at that pro league level. Now with Mirage taking first, Altiora taking second, Livid third, and Nordic Esports fourth. That wasn't quite what I was predicting for this. Livid, they did really well. They got pretty stomped by Mirage, but after that, again, those last two games, they really stepped it up, and I was quite impressed. But let's talk about Mirage. Now, them heading into North American qualifiers, it was pretty rough. The first match, they lost 11 rounds in a row. They got swept the first match, and then heading into the second map, they did okay, but it was only until they actually lost 4 rounds that they were able to take one. So, they were up against the Titans of Rainbow Six Siege, SSG, Space Station Gaming. These guys are the world champs from earlier this year, and it truly showed because they were just incredible. But moving into the second game, they played against Disrupt, and this was kind of that elimination round, and unfortunately, Mirage was eliminated. Disrupt has actually been one of the top tier teams in North America, so it wasn't that unexpected. But that all being said, Mirage, they did okay against them, and definitely moving into next year, I think that Canada will be giving way more of a standstill against these other teams. So that's it. That's all I can really say about it. I hope you enjoy these highlights, and I will definitely be getting you guys all up to date with more frequent videos later on.
All right, Scott, you're back, but we're off to war, my friend. Scott, you and I this week jumped into a very RPG stealth unique title that I think was really kind of up our alley. We really dug this game. This is very cool. You and I are both stealth fans, so for us to jump into Partisans 1941 back in the World War II days was a different spin. Kind of this XCOM feel. How'd you dig this game?
This was a really cool combination of a good story. The Partisans were a real group, and although this is fictitious, it encompasses a really interesting little slice of time. But it's shown a little bit differently. The different camera angle from above is more of a tactical RPG thing. You're building up your characters, you're using them very strategically against opposing other classes, and it really has that depth of combat that can keep a player around.
No, absolutely. Fighting out the Nazis in the post kind of Germany World War II setting is tough, man. This game was hard. I didn't find it very easy to get through the game. I put it on normal, and set off, and away we go. And the characters themselves, I thought, were really well done. They were really well voice acted, and then they felt believable. And then as you build out your characters and you specify out, and you kind of build out your loadout, your skill set, and then after all said and done, then you go back to your own camp and you kind of build your own camp too, which I thought was a really nice touch. And it allows you to get resources, manage other tools, kind of build your partisan party per se, and then set out to fight some more Germans. It's definitely a cool, unique period, and a game that I really dug a lot.
Yeah, and that difficulty keeps the challenge there. So it might actually be a matter of using stealth to get through an area. Sometimes you come up against enemy groups that are just way better equipped than you, and that's the thing that you managed as well in the long game, is what equipment each character is taking and how to spec their build around a specific weapon per se. It's really got those long game tactical RPG hooks in it.
No, absolutely. And as you go out and you're fighting off everybody, you're also gathering the resources, and those resources are used back at base to allow you to unlock other, buildings and things that you're going to need to build up your party to set out and kind of conquer the world and get back to Germany getting all cleaned up. And it's just, I thought it was really cool. The tactile had two aspects to it. You can go in and just kind of go, or you can actually, with the tap of the space bar, strategically time which way you wanted to use your characters, and have one kind of take flank left, and then another one go over here with Zoran flank right, and then if you hit the space bar again, then they kind of perform the action. So it has that turn-based style of gameplay if you're into that as well. So it's not just kind of on the fly and away you go. If you wanted to have that time to slow down, then the nuts are there for you as well. I kind of found that to be really helpful at times.
It definitely is, and it's an interesting way to play out the combat. You can definitely see when the enemy uses that kind of a tactic against you, because a lot happens in one turn and suddenly your party is a little bit shorter than it used to be. But it kind of reminds me of what the old Ghost Recon games had, where you queue up a bunch of actions and let it play out. That's really satisfying.
Scott, being in this isometric top-down view that we're kind of getting a grand scheme of the overall layout, who we're facing, it also has this art style that kind of portrays everything we want for this game, this type of game. I thought it was really well done. Everything runs so smooth, it looks gorgeous. I love the actual style of the entire game. I had a blast playing this. Absolutely love this game a lot, man. What do you think you're going to score this one overall, Scott?
Well, it definitely had, dare I say, a Tim Burton style of the characters mixed with the oldies style American cartooning. It was really satisfying and a gratifying game to play. I enjoyed the combat and the story, especially to this game. I'm going to have to give this one a 7.5, but it's a strong contender.
Absolutely. I think actually I'm a little bit higher than you. This one really hit a chord with me. I love the stealth aspect. I love the art style. I thought the voice acting was fantastic, and the story itself is really good. And then when you get in that with the base building as well, there's a lot here to discover and a lot to kind of traverse as you're playing each map. And the levels too aren't short. Like, I was in there for each level at least 45 minutes to an hour as you take your time. And well, you do die a lot as well. But when you get past all that, it is an absolute blast to play Partisans 1941, and that's why I'm scoring it with an 8.5.
Don't let me down. How many more of you are there?
The guys and I were live this week over on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/theofficialitg. We're there. We got into some Hyper Brawl tournament action. There was nothing but frisks flying and goals scored. There was a lot of action going on, and it was a ton of fun. Check it out. of here. Oh no, he's got it. Yeah.
Oh.
The little tether there. Ooh, he snatches it right out of the air.
Yes,
Yeah.
nice guy.
Oh, well done.
I don't even know if I did that. Like, I was thinking my kicks around.
Oh, and I'm down. Oh, nice, you caught it.
Ah!
Oh, I didn't know who was standing. I was left standing. I don't know how the ball went in.
Rolled off his death.
That's embarrassing.
Oh, I didn't realize I got that.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh crap, Nate, I killed you. Whoa, I almost died. Nice snag.
Oh.
Oh no, get it.
Oh, I got knocked out.
I got it back. Oh no, I keep getting knocked out.
Good
Alright,
comeback.
43 seconds left. Oh no, don't let him get it. We're fighting. oh no.
Oh, that's in. Oh!
Oh, I messed up the shot so bad.
It's alright, it's alright.
Get him. Oh, I got
you.
Oh, I missed it so bad. Nice. No.
Nice. Oh,
oh no. Oh, what's that? It's caught. We're tied, boys. Yeah.
That's a glitch. Has to be.
Oh, man.
Sudden death.
Sudden death is intense.
There we go. Here we go.
You're on the forward, Drew.
Okay, got it. Oh, I almost went off the edge. Oh no, I'm down. I am down. Nate, it's all you. Oh, I'm back. Whoa. Oh, you lost. Oh. Oh. No.
No,
Oh.
Yeah.
Yo, did you throw it at me and knock me
Yeah.
Hit your
That was full health.
Oh man. Good job.
Just clocked me. That was good.
Yo, the magnetic hand thing is pretty slick.
How do you use that? Or is that
I
just
didn't
your
like
guys'
it.
ability?
Instead of the hammer.
Oh,
I didn't
gotcha.
like it. It's all about the hammer, baby.
Yeah.
Hammer is pretty vicious, though.
Oh man.
Watch out, dog. There's a legion that we're forming.
Hostile messaging over the last few weeks across London are not the work of several people as was originally believed, but the work of an individual. The criminal suspected to have links with the terrorist group DedSec is marked as potentially dangerous.
Nate, you and I jumped into Watchdogs Legion. This is one I've been looking forward to. I'm a big Watchdogs fan, so when I saw the fact that we can pretty well take whoever we want and form them to be a part of our DedSec team, this really had me hooked as well. And of course, you know, man, Watchdogs has always been a cool series, and they've had a lot of iterations moving forward, and this one, this year, is being one of the biggest. What are you thinking of Watchdogs Legion?
Well, man, kind of hopping right off with what you said, the whole Legion aspect is really cool and something that I haven't seen done quite like this. You legitimately play as any character that you can recruit, which is almost everybody in the game. It seems like you walk by NPCs all the time in the open world, and some of them you can't and some of them you can, but regardless, you have access to all these people, and they each have kind of unique abilities and things along that. But yeah, they each have their own voice, their own kind of backstory, and when you play as them, like when you're doing the cutscenes, they're right there and they're interacting with your other recruits. It's something I haven't quite seen like anything like this before, man. It's crazy.
No, it is pretty nuts to think about the fact that you can gather any NPC in the game and bring them into your Legion, which is really, really cool. But at the same point, Nate, when I first started playing the game, I was a little concerned that if I can just incorporate whoever, then the people on my team, in a sense, almost don't really matter. So if I lose them, because you have the option to play with permadeath. I chose permadeath, and as I played through the game, well, I had one couple of situations arise over another, and as I played further along, I got a little nervous actually about losing some of my top tier characters. It's not like the RPG system though, right? Where you're able to upgrade all your characters, so when you lose that character, it's like, holy crap, now what?
Yeah.
Where here, you pick whoever, you bring them in your team, you do the tasks to bring them in, and then from there you build out your team. And part of me was like, well, if I can just do that with whoever, then the people on my team really don't matter that much. And for the most part, to be honest, I only use a couple people on my team, but I've really kind of grown fond of those people. They have a certain set of perks. I use a super spy, I've got a hitman, I've got a hacker who can tap into drones and summon drones, and you know, so depending on the situation or the mission that I'm on, I will go with one agent or operator over the other, and it just depends on which way I want to play. And often I'm using my super spy. My super spy is super cool, dude. And
what a surprise.
Yeah, exactly, right? That's my play style. I'm that stealth character, so I'm gonna go in that kind of game mode, and it will allow me to go in and take out guys as quietly as possible, and then from there move on. So I got into a couple situations, I thought, holy, like I'm about to lose this guy, and then what? Because then my super spy is now gone. So at the beginning, like I said, I wasn't too worried, but as I got along and as I'm playing more and more missions, dude, there were a few times I got nervous, that's for sure. Okay, I want to touch on, I think, but for me, probably his biggest highlight of the game is actually the story of DedSec and the fight that they have in front of them with London. The way the game opened up, I felt very James Bond-esque to me, the way the whole story kind of introduces itself, and then London kind of goes to hell, and then from there you're building up DedSec to fight against Albion and a couple other factions you run into with Kelly, and oh man, like the Sky Larson stuff was incredible. So you get into these other twists and turns within the story, and it feels like a big conspiracy theorist kind of roadmap that you run into as you kind of progress down the line of everything, and it had me hooked. Like the story was, to me, one of the best parts of the game, one of the coolest stories this year too. I thought it was phenomenal.
They can grab anyone off the street. Call them illegal immigrants, potential DedSec insurgents, whatever. Though we know who the real danger is. So Clan Kelly gets hold of these people, these immigrants, deportees, victims, really, and they're taking them somewhere. But where and why?
Nate, as strong as the story is, there are some hiccups along the way. No game to this degree is ever perfect by any means, but I've run into a couple issues, man. Like the one part here, I actually had two NPCs just kind of pop in the world in front of me and then fall from the sky. Like it was just, they were nowhere to be found, and all of a sudden they were like right there and on the like they were falling. It was weird. And another time I'm in one of the missions and I'm in the building and one of the guards are up on a desk and he's in this continuous walking loop into the desk, and I can't sneak up behind him like I normally would and kind of choke them out. I had to shoot the guy, and he's one of the guys that exploded, so that just kind of threw everything south for me, right? So I had to bail out on that one. But yeah, it's just, nothing's perfect, but to the game, like, I don't want to give them slack either, right? At the same time, but there's something this vast, this big, this open, where the fact that you can almost take on anybody you want, like there's just so many aspects to the game that had never been done before. I thought it was really cool, but again, no game is ever perfect either, and it definitely has its hiccups.
Yeah, you know, I had a couple of those typical Ubisoft NPC kind of errors where they're in that loop. Like I had one behind cover. It was really tough. I had to shoot him in the head, but it was like zoom, 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 zoom. Yeah. And then other things where like their line of sight is questionable. It's usually in your favor where it's like I should probably be seen right now, but they just kind of drive by or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, let's actually kind of talk about the wanted system, and I guess London itself, navigating through London with the wanted system. Man, it was not easy. The whole left-handed side thing was completely throwing me for a loop.
Well, it's all left-hand side in all one-way streets in London.
Yeah.
And then the roundabouts, right? So like we're definitely not used to that stuff. So to get into the wanted symbol, it kind of reminded me obviously of the GTA wanted level of how that works, and then you can escape. But again, so I had characters that could cloak themselves. You have that ability early, or I actually had, because my spy himself has the ability to cloak his own car. So I take off in the car, cloak myself, and I just bail out. So, you know, but traversing the landscape of London and how they've made it seem so almost post-apocalyptic in a sense, because it was such a big catastrophe when the game opened up. I thought it was really cool. And then everywhere seems different than the last environment and then the other environment. And then there are these little things you kind of go and you open up parts of the map, and then they give you other operators, DedSec agents you can bring in, and that's how you get rewarded, by bringing in specialists in a sense versus just some random walking down the street who may only have the ability to hold a heavy, you know, like hammer or something along that line, versus having, you know, the ability to hack a drone, call a drone, and all these other elements to themselves. Overall, Nate, to me, the game really hooked me. I was in there instantly, had a great time. The story is so cool. It's so, there's these twists and turns that you like. I was just like, wow, ooh, it went there. I'm like, holy crap, and then it went there. I was like, oh my goodness. So I always wanted to keep playing. I wanted to find out more in the story. The fact that you can go in and actually take on whoever you want, I thought was pretty incredible. And man, like, it just, what a unique game for Watchdogs to take from where they've gone with 1, 2, and now into Legion. It's been a really innovative step for Ubisoft, and I think for players, they definitely want to take a look at Watchdogs Legion. It's cool. Whether you want to go with the old granny side, or you want to go in stealth, or you want to go hackers, there's so many options when you're forming your own team for DedSec. Super cool, and that's why, dude, I gotta give it an 8.5.
Oh, nice, man. I'm pretty close to you. I didn't quite, you know, it's not quite there with me. Yeah. I'm gonna have to give it an 8. But man, I just really appreciate what London looks like, and just traversing around this really kind of crazy post-apocalyptic world.
Nice.
Building a legion of random NPCs is a great time in this twisted telling of post-apocalyptic London.
No, she's in the kitchen.
Well, that'll be it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for hanging out this week with us. Now, of course, you can always be a part of the show by going to InsideTheGame.ca or hitting us up on Discord, just like Zane did, as he's got one heck of a clip in Rogue Company. That's a long bomb. Until next week, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you inside the game.
Enemy spotted!
Enemy spotted! Get me up! Enemy spotted!
Need help! The enemies have 5 reinforcements remaining. We only have 5 reinforcements remaining.
Not yet.